Hi, guys. Hi. I'm feeling radiant today. I don't know. I'm feeling good. How are you doing? Hi. I'm feeling like Stella in how Stella got her groove back. That's my vibe today. All right. I don't know. Like, just life is like good. So another edition of Satin Pillow Talks. I love to be Media Kim. We're gonna be Media Kim again today. I wanted to talk. Oh, thank you guys. Oh, appreciate y'all. So there's been a couple of articles about creator burnout that I wanted to discuss because I think that this is a really interesting conversation right now. So I'm going to use the new feature where we can pull up. The first one is from the New York Times by Taylor Lorenz. It's young creators are burning out and breaking down. So this was Taylor Lorenz is her beat is like new technology, digital media, and she interviewed a handful of creators about why they're taking breaks and how they are emotionally and mentally and physically drained and depleted and why they're moving off the TikTok platform. We have had the creator burnout discussion a lot, and to prepare for this live, I have to do research. Like, I'm addicted to it. So I read other articles, previous articles about creator burnout, and something that I do think is really notable about Taylor's article was that there was so much influence or emphasis on the burnout of Black and brown creators, right? Creators who are not white. So the majority of the people that are featured in this piece are Black people and also other people of color. I think that really matters because if we are talking about the lack of access and money that leads to burnout, we absolutely have to be talking about race. And that's something that I absolutely commend Taylor on. Is I don't usually use intersectional this way, but the way that she discusses these platforms and how certain people get put on and certain people get excluded and marginalized is very intersectional, even though I don't use it that way because that's not really how you're supposed to use that term. There's another article. Choose a different article. It's from Vox. Oh, okay. Well, you can't really see it, but it's another article about creator burnout, right? And so I wanted to have this conversation because in all of these discussions about the creator economy and all of this VC investment that's going into the creator economy, so often these conversations about how everybody can have a platform and now nobody has to have a traditional career. You can just be a creator. Like, step into the passion economy. You will be liberated and your life will be great and you get to set your own hours. And I'm like, yeah, but there's also a whole bunch of other shit that like nobody really goes into because people aren't actually talking to real creators. Like, they're not actually talking to people who make a living making stuff. They're talking to people who speculate for a living, right? Okay. So as somebody who actually does that, does this, I wanted to have a conversation about it, right? And so, yes, like, there is so much good that accompanies the explosion of the creator economy. I have said over and over again, I don't want to do nothing else, okay? This is what I want to do. I love to make stuff. This is my passion. It's what I'm the best at. I live a great life, but it's not just freedom and creativity and set your own hours and endless income come, especially not for the vast majority of people. You know, and so in this economy where attention is cheap, right? So yes, you can today set up a TikTok account and because of the TikTok algorithms get 500,000 followers, right? Like in a matter of months, you can start a YouTube channel and create a following. You can get big on Instagram Reels, attention is cheap, but it is as difficult to make a living doing this as it ever has been. And that is completely lost in these conversations about the creator economy. It is hard. And so that is why after we're having these discussions about, wow, TikTok, new platform, new young stars, then we get articles like the article that Taylor wrote where it's 21-year-olds saying, I can't do this anymore. Like, what is so interesting to me about Taylor's article is not only is she zooming in on non-white creators who have less access, less opportunities, less resources to start, but it's young people. It's young people. Imagine you're 22 years old and you're like, oh, like this career I gotta do something else. It's young people because there still are so few viable pathways to financial security. And we have to be real about that. And I'm not sure whose responsibility that is. I know TikTok has tried to step in with the Creator Fund. One of the reasons why I've never signed up for the Creator Fund, because I'm like, it's pennies. It's pennies unless you're huge, right? YouTube is really the only platform, well, to my knowledge, I mean, Twitch, right? But if we're talking about like ads, is really the platform that's really paying out a lot of money. Okay. And, you know, the other thing about the freedom narrative is what is often missed, what people are not discussing is, yes, it's freedom. Yes, you don't have to go to a traditional workplace. Yes, you get to come up with an idea on Monday morning, and then on Monday afternoon, you get to execute that idea. But like the real of it is, it's also the freedom to work yourself to death until you figure out the viable, sustainable financial pathway. Like, that's the real shit, right? Social media is built to burn people out, right? It's built to run through creators. And that is why we have articles like Taylor's article or the article by, I think her name was Kat like Terenberg or something at the Vox. That's why every year there's a different article about creators burning out on different platforms. And so when I was looking about how every platform, there's these articles about creators burning out. There's been so many articles about YouTube creators burning out. So many articles about Vine creators back in the day burning out. So many articles about Twitch creators burning out. Why is that? Why is that? It's because the financial model of these platforms is to run through creators. The financial model of these platforms is to dangle the carrot in front of young people in particular, and say, don't you want to live like Emma Chamberlain? Don't you want to live like Charli D'Amelio, right? And they know full well that that is unattainable. There's also all of these conversations about, okay, so we have this huge creator economy that all the people with money, primarily white, are pumping VC, pumping capital into. There's not equity in who gets fame and who gets money. And so we're just churning through people. And so what comes next? Are we giving them like resources, like financial resources, like even, you know, one of the reasons why I love to be Media Kim and talk about how I have made this work, despite the fact that I'm not sure that the pathway that I have carved out is completely replicable. I'm not sure about that, but I can be 100% transparent about how I've done it, is because it's taken a lot of trial and error. And I will say that I'm only able to be at this point at 32, where I could take a long time off. Honestly, as much time as I wanted off, because I have been really intentional about saving money and investing and diversifying revenue streams. But I'm only at this point because I spent my basically entire 20s burning myself out. Like that's the unsexy part of, okay, maybe young people one day, unless you are a superstar from the beginning, unless you're super, super savvy from the beginning, the reality is maybe one day you might be able to get to a point where you can take a vacation whenever you want to take a vacation, or take a month off when you want to take a month off, or hire an assistant, but you're going to have to spend years burning yourself out for little to no money. That's the not fun part of it. Like, that's the real shit of it. But we're not really having these conversations because nobody is talking to actual creators who have viable streams of income. And I'm like, yeah, like, it's great now, but like, I didn't do shit in my 20s. I was attached to my computer all throughout my 20s. I worked on Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's and skipped birthdays and retirement parties. Shit's not fun. And that should not be the norm. That should not be the expectation. Like, I am finally at a point now, and I feel really, I'm always skeptical, right? When after people have made it, they emphasize the importance of rest and balance and all that. Like, I felt this way about Arianna Huffington, right? So after Arianna Huffington made the Huffington Post, right? And the Huffington Post became incredibly successful. And then she sold it for millions and millions of dollars and then became even wealthier than she already was. Then she creates the platform that's like, we all need to rest. Work is not important. Put down your cell phone. And I'm like, girl, it's real easy to say we all need to rest and work is not important and we need to prioritize ourselves when you're a millionaire. Yes, work is not important. We all need to rest. We all need to put our phones down, okay? But people aren't addicted to their phones and working all the time just because it's so much fun. They're doing it because we are all living lives of financial precarity, and we think that the only way, and for many of us this is the reality, the only way to get any sense of stability is to work all the time. And it's like, Arianna Huffington was not getting 10 hours of sleep when she was trying to build Huffington Post. It's just not real. So I have to say that I genuinely love to do this, but it's still a job. And as much as I can say I prioritize myself and doing whatever the fuck I want to do now and taking time away when I want to take time away and making stuff only when I want to make it, I've been doing this for 11 years. I only got to the make stuff when you want to make stuff place 6 months ago. So that is why we are seeing so many young people just being like, okay, wait, no. And another thing that I thought was interesting was, I've gone back and looked at the other articles about creator burnout, about YouTube, about Vine, about whoever. And something I thought was really interesting was that so many of the people who were featured in those older articles about, are the YouTube algorithms punishing people for not working themselves to death? So many of the people featured in those articles are gone. They don't make content anymore. They quit. Their channels died. Like, it's a really unhappy ending for the mass majority of people who choose to step into the creator economy. Like, that's the real shit. People ask me for all kinds of advice, and I'm like, I don't want to crush people's spirits. I don't want to shit on people's dreams, But like the reality is, if you are a Black creator, if you are a Black woman creator, you're going to have to commit to a not great lifestyle. Probably for at least a period of time. And so there are certain questions people ask me, like, how do I get started? Or how do I get over the fear of putting myself out there? And I'm like, girl, if that's where you're starting, then you just don't even need to, because that's the least of your concerns. Right? Like if you can't even do the legwork on how do I get started, or if you need me to convince you that you don't need to be afraid to post on the internet, that's the least of your concerns. All right. you know, so I wanted to talk about how if you are going to step into this arena of being a creator, right, like you do have to do a lot of work towards being really smart, being really proactive. You know, I don't love capitalism, right? It's coercive, it's exploitative, and I do my absolute very, very best to reject this ideology that I am trying to amass as much wealth as possible. I am not. I'm trying to live a good, happy, stable, comfortable life. I'm not trying to get as big as possible, do as much as possible, get as many followers as possible, right? Exploit as many people as possible. No. But people have pointed out a lot that I am business savvy. I am really serious about the money stuff. And especially moving into my 30s is when I realized, who gonna take care of you? Who gonna take care of you in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years? Moving into my 30s, I realized that one of the reasons why so many of the people that I saw blogging, making videos, making podcasts in 2011, one of the reasons why so many of those people are not here in 2021 is because they couldn't make the business shit work. And it's not their fault. All of these structures are created so that people of color, women, people with marginalized identities will fail. So that you will create more value for the company and then just drop off. But because I love this and I'm not going back to the corporate strip club, was like, okay, we got to figure this shit out. And I've been pretty successful at it. I'm not rich. I would say all the time, I'm not rich, but I'm not broke. I'm comfortable. And so then we get the capitalist accusations. I do run a company. I do run a business. And I don't plan on not running that business anytime soon. And I know exactly what I need to do to make this sustainable. Because I recognize that we are not going to have Black people making things without corporate input, making things, weird things, different things, alternative viewpoints that exist outside of the mainstream. If we can't figure out the business shit, it's just not gonna happen. Like there's a reason why there are not Black Addison Rays and Charli D'Amelio's and Jaclyn Hills. Even though I love Jackie Aina, I love her to death, but like there's a reason why there's not multiple of those people. It's because the triangulation, the strategy is hard and it's time consuming and it runs you down. Oh, also the other thing, right? And I think that this is like, something that I saw in reading those articles is it's not just that you feel like you're not making the money you need to make or you're not getting the views you need, but it's also that you can't be as creative and free as thoughtful as you need to be if you're chasing pennies. Like, these systems, the way that they're set up, these platforms are created so that the vast majority of creators are chasing pennies. You know, I don't know if I posted this on, maybe I posted this on my Instagram story, but I had a semi-viral TikTok like a month ago. I don't know how many, it maybe got 500,000 views on TikTok. And then I got a sponsorship inquiry from some water bottle company, and they were offering like $400 for 10 TikToks. Pennies. So if you are a person who wants to do any kind of real work, thoughtful work, put on wigs, do skits, go places, that's not enough to finance that. Then you have to decrease the quality of your output, right? Dumb your ideas down, dumb everything down, because you're getting paid $40 a TikTok. I've decided I am not going to work like that. And I don't work like that. In fact, I turn down sponsorships, corporate sponsorships regularly, because I don't want anybody to be able to tell me that they don't approve the video. I don't like it. The first time a sponsor told me no, I said, "Oh, I'm not doing this no more." I don't want it, because I don't have to. Doesn't matter to me. I mean, told me no on the final product of a video. That's what, right? So you like enter into these contracts, and then you send off your completed video to the sponsor, and they get to say, "Oh, can you take this out?" Or, "Oh, I don't like that," or whatever. And I was like, I don't need this. I don't need this, right? It's like my man has 2 jobs. Okay, that's from Everybody Loves Chris. My man does not have 2 jobs, okay? But, you know, so the other part of the burnout thing, right, is not just that creators have a really hard time, Black creators, creators with marginalized identities in particular, have a really hard time figuring out the money stuff. It's also the relationship that you develop with the audience or like fans can get really, really tricky, right? And I've been trying to have these conversations about how I'm navigating exploring different interests and being at a different point in my life, right? That's the other thing, right? Like, financial stability gives you the ability to try some new shit. To say, that old shit was good. That old shit was fun, but I'm just gonna try some new shit. And like, the consequences of trying new shit don't really matter because I'm good. And so then creators are not just stuck into like the treadmill of financial exploitation, but then there's the fear of, I've been doing this thing and it works and that's amazing, but what if I don't always want to do that thing? Oh, they're not going to like me if I don't always want to do that thing. I'm not going to go viral if I don't do that thing anymore, you know? And so I have been really working to internalize, like, not being motivated by fear, but that's a privilege. That's a privilege, right? Like there's certain kinds of equity, I don't know, like goodwill that I feel like I built up over, you know, a decade. Also financial equity that I built up over a decade. But yes, I'm sure it's very scary if you're a young person and you've built your identity on being popular on TikTok to think, oh, I'm not going viral anymore. They don't like me anymore. In fact, I think that Taylor talked to one young person, like a 16-year-old in that article, who went viral for a minute and then stopped going viral and then had to go to therapy. That's the other, you know, I have thoughts about, I recognize that young people, we have a teenager and young adult obsessed culture. And so all of eyes and everything is going to go to those people. But like, I am so glad that I wasn't famous or popular or known when I was in my early 20s or teens. when you're just trying to figure out who you are and what you think and what your taste is. We really don't have supports for people who are maturing into their viral fame. And so if all of your self-esteem, if all of your self-worth and your identity is wrapped up on being the person who can make a TikTok in 30 minutes and it goes viral, when a big part of virality is baked into algorithms you don't control, yeah, you're going to be fucked up when you don't go viral anymore. I have had to become, or I've chosen to become, right, as I've decided to do different things, right, process oriented instead of outcome oriented. And that's really hard, right? Because now I've always loved the process of reading and research and writing out a script. I don't love recording. Recording is like the worst thing. I feel like every person who makes videos will tell you like recording is the worst shit. It's horrible. But I even like editing, right? But really detaching myself from being like, this video is a failure if it doesn't get 50,000 views or 100,000 views or whatever. And really honing in on, I fucking did that shit. There are so many videos on the For Harriet channel, I can say, that have lots and lots of views where I'm like, oh, I could have done better. I could have done better. I'm not super proud of that. And there are so many other videos on the For Harriet channel where I'm like, oh, bitch, you fucking did that shit. You know, like that makes me feel good when it's like, oh, you wrote that sentence or you delivered that line flawlessly. Oh, bitch, this is well edited. Like that, now I'm at a point where that brings me the most joy and contentment. But again, like, that's the result of just being comfortable, you know, being comfortable in my career, but also knowing that I don't have to have the most views or go viral all the time for people to really enjoy what I do. Privilege, right? Love Kai Foster. I do watch her videos. I just like that she's just like a sardonic Black girl, right? Just like a sardonic wit. I like her. You know, and I guess, you know, for me, detaching myself from the fear is really being okay with some people just aren't gonna like some of the shit that I make. You know? Like now I'm just so completely okay with like, it wasn't for you. It wasn't for you. And that is okay, right? Because this isn't Burger King. I understand that because of the way that we're trained to interact with people who make content, because of the ways that we are trained and socialized to interact with influencers, we believe that they owe us the kind of output that we like. Why did you change? I like that other thing. I feel personally offended because you changed away from the thing that I like, but that's not really how it works, right? Like if we believe in offering Black people, Black women in particular, freedom and autonomy and the ability to inhabit multiple selves and do all kinds of different things, that entitlement cannot exist. Now, that doesn't mean I owe it to a creator to keep engaging with their content when they make a switch I don't like. There's been a few times when people have switched up and I'm like, this is not for me. I'm going to see myself out. Okay? That's it. Right? Like, that's it. Like, that's not my thing. I'm just going to click off. That's fine. And I recognize that people are going to do that to me. Right? We don't owe each other loyalty in that way. I appreciate the work it takes to make things. I appreciate the effort that it takes to seek out my videos and engage with me or sign up for Substack or Patreon or whatever. But that doesn't mean that I owe you. The key to me being able to like relinquish the fear of switching up or relinquish the fear of, oh my gosh, like, is the money gonna go away tomorrow, is how I have been able to decouple views from income. That comes from diversifying. That comes from being a really smart investor. I don't know if I feel like I'm a smart investor. I can tell you how much my portfolio is up right now, but I feel like I'm not bad. And I also have an investment account that I don't manage, right? That somebody else manages. So it's like I can make my picks and then the other person can make their picks. So we'll get it together. I also have to say that, you know, as I've tried new things, as I've ventured out, as I've been crazy Kim and flighty Kim and pop culture obsessed Kim over the past few years, the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, you know? And so sometimes, like, I wish that I could, like, have conversations. Maybe I should be like a creator mentor, you know? Because something that these past few months have taught me is that if you're authentic, if you're genuine, if you make it a point to show up as yourself all the time, people will go with you. I might not always give you the exact thing that you want, but I'm always gonna show up as authentic Kimberly. I don't lie. I don't fake it. I'm not pretend like my shit is messy. My shit is messy. Okay. So that's what I can promise you, right? I can't always promise you that it's going to be Burger King and you're going to have it your way, but I can promise you that I'm always going to be authentic. And that's freeing. As a person who is really trying to stave off burnout, I don't live in the burnout space. I've done multiple videos on this. My shit is great. Best summer ever, summer 2021. But as I am being really intentional and building up structures and things in my life so that I don't ever have to ever be in the burnout space ever again, I know that like my number one priority is, are you showing up prepared? Preparation is really important to me. And are you showing up honest? And also, I don't want to participate in bigotry. That's also a big thing to me. And so it doesn't matter what I make. Like, I can always do those things. Oh, the other thing somebody asked me was, you know, do I feel like as I've made, you know, the transition to start doing different things, like, do I regret starting off as serious feminist Kim because that's really jarring when people see me as fun Kim or, you know, irreverent Kim or flighty Kim. And no, I am so glad that my career trajectory has happened in the way that it's happened, where I was serious, head down, feminist Kim, research, interviews, you know, fake academic Kim, because it is much easier to go from serious Kim to fun Kim than it would be to go from fun Kim to serious Kim. Just because of all of the biases that we have about intelligence and rigor, I've seen way more people go from serious to fun than I have seen go from fun, flighty, irreverent to serious. Because once you have the stigma, if I had that lifestyle influencer stigma, I would not be on nobody's academic panel. Just because of all of the biases that we have about that. 100%. I know that 100%. I just thought I would just, you know, just have that like little conversation about influencer culture and burnout and why it happens so much and why it's frankly going to continue happening, right? Like, I realized that because of this creator economy boom, that so many of these platforms are now trying to be creator friendly, where YouTube is introducing the tipping feature in Clubhouse and Twitch and TikTok and all that. But if you pay creators the real amount that they contribute to the platforms, these companies go under. It's not just that there's no pathway to profitability for these platforms, because for a lot of these platforms, profitability isn't even really the main goal. It's like the companies can't even function if we're really paying Black creators in particular, women creators in particular. Well, not women, right? Because there's intersection, because, you know, the D'Amelios are fine. So let's say the intersections of LGBT, POC, right? Non-binary gendered, right? Like, if you really pay those people what they're worth, if you really give them access to the opportunities and the networks and the mainstream looks that they really deserve, then like all of these structures topple. And like, that's just as honest as I can be about that, as somebody who's been doing it for a long fucking time. How do you get things done, especially factoring in your ADHD? I break things down into the tiniest pieces. The tiniest pieces I break things down. That's actually one of the reasons why it often takes me so long to get videos done, right? Like, I'm still working my way through this Naomi Osaka video that's gonna make people mad. Just one sentence at a time, working my way through this Naomi Osaka video that I know is gonna have a certain side of the internet like fucking coming for me. But it's literally one article at a time, one sentence at a time, one paragraph at a time. That's how I break things down, because I get overwhelmed really easily. I feel like white creators who benefit from these structures should protest and become real allies. Yeah, you know, I'm not exactly sure what they could do. What do you think they should do? Because a part of it is also that there was that other Vox article about how it's only, you know, the mediocre whites who become huge on TikTok. But that's also because most people's preferences skew toward mediocre whites. I'm not sure what can be done about that. Kim, do you think it's useful to compare influencers with musicians? I see the same ups and downs. Sorry, you got cut off, classic Dara. But yeah, I mean, I also think there is something about how musicians are creators in the creator economy, right? Like, the man who co-founded Patreon did it because he was like had a small little band, or he has a small little band with his wife, and he was trying to figure out how to make money. Yeah, like, they're in this creator economy too. And there's also, when I made the last video about how to monetize your life, I was reading some article. I'm not sure if I referenced this or I just looked it up when I was doing the research. But basically, right, for musicians, the spread of who makes money and who doesn't is like so unequal. I mean, literally, it's like 0.00 like 1% of musicians on Spotify are getting 97% of all the income. Like, it's so disparate. So that's what I mean by the fact that, like, these platforms are built off of the reproduction of that inequality. I wish I could find that. I'll put it in the newsletter where it talks about how, like, on Spotify, on all of the streaming services, it's like 5 artists are getting all of the royalties. And to be honest, I'm wondering if them lifting up Black creators to that level will help long term, because it's still a sort of lucky few effect that may not help us all. It won't, right? So here's the thing, right? Okay, so I'm, doing this thing where I'm going to sit down at the end of the month and go through all of the business stuff, how I structure things, why I do it. That's fine, right? And I make it a point to say over and over again, I'm very strategic. I've worked really hard to figure this stuff out. It's trial and error. I've been broke. Like mom paying the cable bill broke. I've been broke. But then I realized I had to figure this shit out. There's no guarantee that literally if you do exactly what I've done, literally replicate what I've done step by step, there is no guarantee that it's going to work for another person. Because so much of it is luck. It's luck, it's timing, it's triangulation, it's things that are completely out of your control. And that's, as real as I can be about that. There's all of these conversations about, creator middle class, and like creator lower middle class, and what can we do? And it's like, I've seen people throw out the idea of like a universal creator income, where, this is like far-fetched theory stuff, right? From like the tech side. But, I do read a lot of that stuff where, Facebook should invest in paying creators $5,000 a month, because they can afford it. And if you're really invested in diversifying your platform, if you're really invested in making Facebook and Instagram a space where all kinds of people can flourish, then you need to share some of those profits with the people who are making the content, who are dedicating their lives to do it, who are disrupting their lives. Give them money and say, here's money, make stuff. I think that's a good idea. Do I think it's ever going to happen? I don't know, right? Like, things actually have changed a lot in the past 6 months. I don't know. Oh, if you're looking for my Substack is literally linked on my Instagram. So, and then if you're watching this on YouTube, it's literally in the description box. How do you navigate vulnerability expressed when you're authentic, especially on the internet? How do I navigate the vulnerability part? Here's what I can say. In like 100%, vulnerability, even when I say things, put things out there, and there's backlash, the percentage of backlash is minute compared to the percentage of overwhelmingly positive response. Now, I know that people think that the percentage of backlash is higher because I often respond to it, but honestly, I often respond to the backlash because it makes me feel good to monetize people's negative feeling toward me. Honestly, right? But I could easily ignore the percentage of backlash and be fine because it's overwhelmingly, more than 90%, 95%, 97% positive. It just makes me feel good to know that if you are going to dedicate a significant amount of time being nasty, you're not going to profit from it. I'm going to profit from it, and I'm going to control the narrative. So I've said this before, but when people are like, why are you responding? That is why. It makes me feel good. Your demeanor seems softer than before, which is fine. Is this incidental with growth, or have you actively made an effort to change your persona? I'm just curious. Well, first of all, I'm about to, whenever I finish this fucking Naomi Osaka video, I feel like my persona is not going to be softer. I feel like my persona talking about pop music or talking about random stuff is not going to be the same persona as when I am talking about why you're a fucking bigot. I want I'm not trying to be rude here. I'm not trying to be rude. But why would I have the same persona in bed, hanging out, shooting the shit, as I do telling you about why you're a fucking classist bigot? Does that make sense? So that's it, right? I think that when I am discussing different things, I show up differently. And when I get riled up, I get riled up. And when I'm not riled up, when I'm relaxed and having fun, I'm relaxed and having fun. I feel really good about where I'm going with what I'm working on right now, because we're going to have a conversation about LUXURY. And that's not going to be happy, fun, Kim. It's not. But also, I can't deny, right? I can't deny that, like, I'm just happy. I'm just happy. Life is good. I'm in love. I'm just happy. I don't really have any worries today. Today I don't have any cares. I'm a carefree Black girl today. Okay, back to Classic Dara. I was ending it by saying that I fear we'll see POC influencers end up like Motown artists did. Oh, totally, right? But we've seen that over and over and over again. Yes, like influencers get chewed up and spit out. Not just how Motown artists did, how Bad Boy artists did, right? Like, there's the other conversation about how influencers, POC influencers, are so desperate to find management or any kind of leg up or take any kind of business deal or whatever, that they're just being exploited, that you're really vulnerable to entering into shitty contracts and signing up with opportunists who don't know what they're doing, and you're just in a bad deal. And I even think in that Taylor Lorenz article, she talked about the rise of MCNs, when there was all of these multi-channel networks. And I'm so glad I was never big enough to be in an MCN, like when they were, or maybe I was, but I've always known that I'm going to have 100% control and 100% ownership. Like, Kimberly is never, ever going to sign nothing that's going to give away rights. Like, no, like, ew, like, why would I do that? But during the heyday, when all of these YouTubers were signing up for multi-channel networks and then giving over 50% of their AdSense to the multi-channel network because you were supposed to be getting all of this promo and resources and career guidance and all of that. And it's like, that's just scams. It's just scammers. What advice would you give to a content creator that is just starting out and still has a full-time job but wants to avoid burnout? I don't really have advice for you. Look, I don't have advice. I don't give advice. I only say what I did. The vast majority of the people who are super, super successful on social media are burned out. That's just like, or they're burned out, or they're on the edge of burnout, or they have made enough money where they can finance their lifestyle in a way that prevents burnout. When I, in 2013, I had a full-time job working at Farmers Insurance, and I would work an 8-hour day as a liability adjuster at Farmers Insurance, and then come home at night and work on For Harriet, do another 8-hour day. That's the only way it worked. That's the only way I got to a point where I could afford to quit the job. I was burnt out. That's the only way. That's the only way I know. And it's not a healthy way, but it is a by any means necessary way. And again, unless you are like a comet, right? Like a once in a generation like story, you're just working all the time. I love Amanda. I literally love her so much. Love As Told by Kenya. I don't really watch Kiana Naomi. I'm not sure who that is, but for sure, Amanda and As Told by Kenya are students who also do this. But like, they're working a lot. They're working a lot, for sure. I mean, that's like also one of the reasons why like so many of the people who do this don't have kids. You know, like have partners. I think I remember at one point Kenya talking about how her partner has been so supportive of her while she's been doing this. Do you feel like other commentary YouTubers are your sons, kinda? I feel like no. No. I feel like I do a very particular thing, and I readily acknowledge that the very particular kind of thing that I do is heavily influenced by bell hooks. All the time. Like, heavily, you know? And so I would never, I don't think they're my sons. I think that, sure, there's influence for sure, but I've been influenced. Okay, I think I'm done here. That's it. I need to go back to like writing. Yeah, so I've been working on this video that I just feel like it's gonna be like so good. But I don't want to oversell it, but I feel like, because it's like a conversation that I've been wanting to have for a long time, right? Like about how the luxury discourse is like, you know, like, here's a little taste, right? How useful is the luxury discourse if you can't afford to miss a week of work? That's a taste. How useful is the luxury discourse if you don't have savings? That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Bye.